Howdy Redemption Church, specifically our ministry team leaders and our ministry team volunteers. This Sunday, August the 31st, 2014, we will be launching into the fall season of our ministry. We like to call this Sunday Fall Launch Sunday. And on this Sunday, we will also be launching into a new sermon series through the New Testament book of Philippians. This is Paul's letter to the church at Philippi, and we are going to dive deeply into the joy that is ours in Jesus Christ. The joy that was purchased for us on the cross through Jesus Christ. And we are super excited to do this. Now let me start here, because let me just tell you where we're headed. I want to tell you some things that we're praying for. I want to tell you about the playbook that is attached to this file, and then I want to, but before I do that, I want to say thank you. So 3 things. I'm going to say thank you to you. I'm going to tell you what we're praying for this fall as ministry teams, and then specifically concerning our Sunday morning gathering, and then I want to just address the playbook really quick. Okay, so first, thank you. Thank you for coming early and staying late. Whether you're a ministry team leader or a ministry team volunteer, thank you for fulfilling your role week in and week out as you're scheduled to do that in a faithful and efficient way. We can't thank you enough for that. One example that we have that I would give just anecdotally, just very recently, is that Pastor Josh can go on vacation and I can handle all my responsibilities throughout the week, as we are the only 2 paid staff people, and I can show up on a Sunday morning, which Josh is on vacation, and which I really haven't done much as far as organizing anything for the Sunday morning gathering, and all the teams are functioning and in place and doing exactly what it is that is expected of them, and that is so exciting. And the reason that's exciting is because we can rest in the fact that week in and week out, the gospel is going to be proclaimed efficiently and excellently in word and in action through these ministry teams and through the roles that you're fulfilling. So thank you so much for bearing that responsibility with joy on Sunday mornings at the Orpheum as Redemption Church gathers there. Thank you very much. Okay, here's what we're praying for. 3 things. 2 of them are very specific things that we pray for every single Sunday for Redemption Church as we gather at the Orpheum. 1 is that lost people will be saved. So we're praying that this fall, lost people who are far from God will be saved through the power of the gospel. And number 2, we are praying that God's children, those who are already saved, already part of God's family, that the power of the gospel will impact them, making them more and more into the image of Christ. We are praying for these things every Sunday. We are definitely praying for them this fall. Please join us in praying for those 2 things, that people will be justified, that they will be saved by the power of the gospel, and that people will be sanctified, that they will continue being saved, continue being transformed more and more into the image of Christ through the power of the gospel, specifically as we move through this series through the book of Philippians, and all the other ministries that will be happening at Redemption Church this fall. Number 3, specifically for our Sunday morning gatherings at Redemption Church, we are praying that gathering space at the Orpheum, as Redemption Church gathers there, that this gathering space will explode with people. Not literally explode, but that the numbers will be so great that we're having to set out more and more chairs, and then we're having to bring out the folding chairs, and then we're having to order more chairs because people are coming in great numbers to sit under the teaching of the gospel. Again, so that those 2 things that we're always praying for can happen in more and more lives each Sunday as God brings more people out to the Orpheum to be saved and to be transformed more and more into the image of Christ. And so join us in praying for those things. Pray that there will be lots of people that come out, and just as we pray every Sunday, that people will be saved and people will be sanctified by the power of the gospel. And in that, and in the wake of that, and as we move towards that, that's what this playbook is for. There's a playbook attached to this post. This playbook will cover us through the entire Rebellious Joy series through the book of Philippians as we go through it. In the playbook, you will find all sorts of things. You're going to find a description of all the roles that will need to be fulfilled on Sunday mornings at the Orpheum. You'll find a synopsis of the sermon series. You're going to find some things that you definitely need to take note of, some things that are changing, or some new rhythms, or some potentially pitfalls or potential things that might happen that we are expecting to possibly happen during this series that you need to be heads up to. And you also find a who's in charge of who. We do this so that we can all have a shared vocabulary, a shared vision, a shared goal as we move forward in these Sunday morning gatherings at the Orpheum, so that people know who reports to who, so that people know who's supposed to be doing what. So ministry team leaders, please open up this playbook and take ownership of all the descriptions of all the roles that are for people who are responsible to you, or you're responsible for. And please take ownership of the series synopsis, and please take ownership of the things that you need to take note of for the upcoming season at Redemption Church. And ministry team volunteers, please open up this playbook and read it in its entirety, and take ownership of the responsibilities that are yours on a Sunday morning at Redemption Church. For all of our leaders and all of our ministry team volunteers, as you read this playbook, please use it as an opportunity to pray. Just as you read, God, as you read about people who are preparing food, pray for the people who are preparing food. It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be drawn out. Just, God, help the people who are preparing food to love you deeply through this, and to worship you as they're doing this, and to do it with excellence, and that people will be saved as a collective result of all that you are doing through these roles at Redemption Church. That good tasting food and great excellent worship music and excellent proclamation of the gospel and excellent kids ministry and a nice greeter at the door, and all of these roles will come together in your sovereign plan to save people and to sanctify people. And so pray for that as you read through this playbook. We are excited about what God is going to do in our gathering space, and then as we pour out from the gathering space this fall through the power of the gospel as it's proclaimed through the Philippians series. And we are excited for the role that you're going to play in that. So please open up the playbook, take ownership of all the things that are in there, and pray for one another as you do that. I just want to give one last word here. I know we are only 3 days away from launch. Some of these things are a little bit different in rhythm, and there are some new roles some roles that are returning and introduced in there. So we understand that there's going to be some catch-up time required here for you as ministry team leaders. Please make that as short as possible. But again, we understand that there's a gap here in time, as you're only 3 days away from launch. So again, thank you so much for all that you're doing. If you have any questions at all, or any concerns or any thoughts about it, please don't hesitate to let me know. Thank you so much for all that you're doing.